Most organizations will have some kind of a process for investigating accidents, but not many organizations think about having a strategy in place, particularly if the aim is to learn from accidents and create a culture of learning. So typically what happens is that it is the severity or the consequence of an accident that would decide how much time and resources we want to put into investigating the accident. How robust is that strategy is very questionable, because a lot of times when an accident happens, a major accident for example, the thing that is most worrying is the reputation of the organization and the public image. And those instances, learning is never a priority. So, not having a clear strategy means that we end up expecting one thing which is never the actual reason for conducting an accident investigation in the first place, which is learning. Now, if we shift our focus from high consequence accidents towards things that happen more frequently, they may or may not have a consequence, but these are routine problems in the organization. So, to name a few, for example, near misses or quality issues or customer complaints or technical breakdowns. And there's a huge potential to learn from these kind of events because they happen on a continuous basis, and they can create a culture of learning if we started to take them as a priority. And so, in those instances, having a strategy is very, very important that aligns with the process of investigation. Now, what does that process look like in practice? What I think we should be focusing on is having a process that is divided into at least three parts. In the first instance, we discover the problem. And this is a stage where we want to understand with accuracy what has gone wrong, and we want to get the narrative of the investigation right. In the second instance, the idea is to have a proper implementation and corrective action plan. And in the third stage, we want to make sure that we have a proper change management process in place. So let's take the first one. In the case of discovery, the entire focus should be on asking open-ended questions and listening to people involved in the accident for at least two reasons. One is that obviously we want to have a very accurate picture of what has gone wrong, but also a lot of times people are very defensive when things go wrong and they hold back a lot of information, sometimes unintentionally. And in those instances, if we have the right kind of people coming in to investigate and discover the problem, chances are that we will end up with an accurate picture and we will get a lot of buy-in from these people. And the interesting thing is that in most organizations, this is one particular skill that is lacking. We do not have people who are good at asking questions or listening, and we should develop these skills further. The second stage is the stage of closure, and this is when you want to make sure that once you have understood the problem, you can't just go on discovering forever. So the focus shifts from asking open-ended questions towards closed questions, towards leading questions, towards very specific questions. And the goal is to make sure that whatever corrective actions we want to implement are actually cross-checked and validated by people who were involved in the investigation or who were involved in the accident. And at this stage, we want to validate what we have, whatever solutions we want to propose, the actions we want to propose, but we also want to get a buy-in from these people. We want them to take ownership of those actions. And in a way, it's a process of consultation and validation from people involved in the accident. So this is the second stage. And at the third stage, what we do is we go into making sure that the change management actually works. So whatever implementation plan we have put in place, it actually works. So long after the implementation is done, there are people who can walk up to, or who can go into the into the field. They can engage with people, and the most important question at this stage is that what new risks we might have created as a result of the implementation plan. Now, why is it important to have these three stages? Because we want to make sure that we bring in different levels of competence, different kinds of competencies when at different stages in the investigation process, and make sure that we start off with a rich understanding of the problem. We have the right kind of questions to cross-validate and cross-check that the implementation plan actually works. And once implementation is carried out, we are made aware of any new risks that might emerge as a result of the corrective actions that we have put in place. So I think having these three things in place actually goes a long way in creating a culture of learning as a result of investigation. But that can only happen if we have a good strategy in place that aligns with the process of investigation. Now, I know this is a lot of information, so what I've done is I've put it in some concise, in one particular slide, and this is what it looks like. But if you have any questions, please write to me at support@novellus.solutions, and I'm happy to elaborate further on what we have just discussed. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.